Get this going. Hi there, Carrie Hewerdine here. A really important concept, because I talk to a lot of you guys about the fact that one of the things that draws us into having an interest in court reporting is something that we're really not even conscious of, but we have something in common, most of us. Two things really. One is the fact that we like the feeling of sitting behind that machine and not having to talk, just listening to everything everybody's doing. And knowing that, yeah, if we get asked to read back, we can do that because we're reading back somebody else's words. It's not ours. And as long as we do it perfectly, we will not get criticized. Which brings me to the second element that we all have in common, and that is this internal drive, this seemingly endless need to be perfect. And we know there is no such thing as perfect, regardless of who you talk to. And you'll hear every once in a while somebody say, oh, I have perfect notes. Oh, I have perfect whatever. Maybe really, really, really good, but probably not perfect, not 100% of the time. So to really get some progress being made, you've got to take the word perfect out of your, not just your dictionary, out of your goals. If you can think of, really look at it realistically, you don't have to pass the test at 100%. So nobody is expecting you to be perfect. Now, once we're out in the field and our livelihood depends on it, and the fact that the better we write, the more money we can make, we get real motivated to bump up from 95% to 100% if it's possible, because it makes our job that much easier. The easier the job, the more jobs you can do, the more jobs you can do, the more money you can make. It's like simple math. But otherwise, in school, if they wanted you to be perfect, they would not set the bar at 95% or 97.5 in California, in some places. And so start telling yourself that good enough is good enough. And if 95% is passing, then that's good enough. That allows you a 5% margin of error from perfect. And it's something that is attainable. And I think it was Rose Detloff who said she tricked her mind into asking it for 97%. I've always told the people that I work with, shoot for 98, because that covers California also. But it's a nice even number. So depending on if your brain likes even or odd numbers, doesn't matter. Tell it, I have an incredible brain, 95%. That's for other people. I know I can tell my brain to aim for 98 or 97, whichever feels most comfortable to you. It really doesn't matter. We could ask it for 99, but there's that little bit of skepticism in your brain that'll say, well, that's pretty close to 100, but 98 isn't and 97 isn't. It's just a cushion of comfort above 95. And so if you don't hit, if you're aiming for 95 and you're one off, you're not going to pass. If you're aiming for 98 and you're one off, you are still going to pass. So conversely, if you know how many errors you're allowed in the take that you're going to be doing, tell your brain, cut it by 2/3 and say, well, in California, it's 50 errors we're allowed on a test. And so the people I work with, I tell them, tell your amazing brain to focus on 35 errors or less, because your brain can do that. It's doing the math in the background and all kinds of amazing things all the time. It's hearing the words you just heard. It's focusing on the thing that you think you're focusing on, and it's actually already almost hearing what's coming next, which is why, left to its own devices, it can write faster than the chattery part of your brain that's trying to analyze everything that doesn't matter in the moment. Yeah, there might be a brief for that, but if you shut up my subconscious will write that word quickly and we'll be on to the next thing and we won't miss anything. We will be on top of every word. So, perfection, get it out of there. Start thinking in terms of progress, which also is kind of nebulous sometimes for us because we think of progress in terms of, well, I'm not making progress unless I pass a test. Well, that's not true because you're making progress all the time. If you're showing up and doing the thing, doing the protocol that you promised yourself, committed yourself to, um, and giving yourself some breaks once in a while, but basically saying, I promised myself I was going to do this during the time I have available every day, and I'm going to. And you show up with 100% of effort. You're still going to make progress. And if you think of progress in terms of 1%, if I can show up tomorrow and be 1% better, more accurate, or faster, or more relaxed than I was yesterday, that's huge. Because in 100 days, which is basically just maybe a little bit more than 3 months, that's 100% improvement from where you are. And we all know that we can probably hit more than 1% improvement every day. We're putting the effort into it. And so stop thinking in terms of what was my last score on the test that I didn't pass, because we forget, maybe nobody even ever told you, that you can't compare the tests that you're taking. The test that you took 3 days ago where you got a 92 and the test you got today where you got an 88, and your brain says, oh, look at you, you're not only are you not going forward, you're going backwards. We're getting worse. The more we practice, the worse we get. That's a terrible message to tell your brain, and it's not true. And most of the stuff you tell yourself that's holding you back is not true. What you're not realizing in that analogy is that you can't compare tests, because you and I could take the same test on the same day and you might pass it with flying colors and come away saying, man, that was really a good test. And I might sit there going, holy hell, I got my RMR and I couldn't hang on. What the hell is wrong with me? Because everybody comes to this with not just different skills, but different processing speeds, different backstories to our lives, different things that trigger us and interfere with our mental processing ability in different ways. And for some people, you may go into a test and it's positively neutral material and doesn't faze them in the least. And it may be a test that they go into with a mental attitude of, I don't care. If I pass it, I pass it. If I don't, I don't. They're going to have a whole hell of a lot better chance passing than I would if I went into that same test with a lot of stuff on my mind, a whole bunch of things in my life happening, and the first couple of words in the test trigger me about something that I'm having trouble with in my life right now, or maybe 20 years ago. And I may not even consciously be aware of, all of a sudden I've got a thought process going on in my mind, in the background, that's going to keep trying to surface while I'm trying to write. So instead of totally neutral material, I've got something in there that's bugging some part of me. And there are ways to set you up so that when you go into a job, a test, you literally are clearing out everything and making yourself a clean, clear channel, a vessel, a body which the words come into your ears, they get processed through your body and out your fingers. And that's what we want. But for those two people with different backgrounds taking the same test, it can feel different and you can wind up with different results. And so even you on 2 different days with 2 different tests, and you come away feeling like, what the hell is wrong with me? I wash my hands, I can't do anything with them, kind of joke. But some days that's true. And I have had jobs, and a lot of working reporters will tell you this, out in the field where you're in that job and the witness is really slow, the attorney is really eloquent, everybody's really nice, the material isn't complicated, and I am stumbling all over the place and don't know what the hell is wrong with me. And the next day I show up in a patent case where they're talking really fast and everybody's kind of overlapping, and it's like, holy hell, I'm on top of everything. I'm amazing. Why wasn't I amazing yesterday when the job was easier? I don't know. They're all different. There's no board in the sky of people, panel in the sky of people sitting there analyzing each test, each job, each take, and being able to give you the information that your brain wants. Like, oh, there was this sequence of words and you were tripping on that, and this is easier for them, and all of that stuff. And it doesn't matter. You got to just get to where you show up your best you every time and look for, can I do it better than I did it yesterday? Can I do it faster than I did it yesterday? Can I do it cleaner than I did it yesterday? Can I hang on better than I did it yesterday? Can I stay calm and focused and confident and relaxed while writing fast? Better than I did yesterday. That's all it is. Better than I did yesterday. You're competing only with you, and not in a punitive way, but in a getting better way. I am taking every tiny step along my journey, and this has been a long journey, but I'm going to take consistent steps. There is power in consistency. Even if you don't think you're practicing correctly, if you're showing up and doing the best that you know how to do for you until you know something different, you're going to keep getting results. You will get results if you don't give up on yourself in the meantime, because there is that part of you that you have to fight constantly that keeps saying, the part of you that says, my only job is to keep you alive on the planet for one more day. What we did yesterday kept you alive. Therefore, don't try to do anything different than you did yesterday. Don't try to write faster. Don't try to write more accurately. Do exactly what you did yesterday, because that kept you safe. And it really doesn't care that you get sad from not passing a test. It basically, its whole MO is, okay, it's a little lazy, doesn't really want to put in any effort it doesn't have to. It wants to keep you away from anything it perceives as a threat or a problem or something that's going to cause you feelings that are uneasy. A test. And so it sees you, you go to school, you take the test, you fail the test, you cry, you feel bad. It doesn't care. Let's do it again tomorrow. It doesn't have the same picture of the future that you do, which is crazy because all these parts of you are living within you. And you'd think that maybe it would get the memo or be listening to the other parts talking, but it doesn't. It's very lazy. It's very selfish. It's very self centered. And it has its own agenda. And once we realize that, we can start working with it so that we don't feel like we're the victim of it and it's having its way with us. And coming away from a sequence of tests where you just feel like, what the hell is wrong with me? Why am I sabotaging my own best efforts when I'm writing, practicing at 160 and getting it beautifully, but when I drop down to take a 120 test, I'm stumbling all over the place. Well, you're stumbling because you have time to think and analyze how you're writing, and for that part of you to be saying, I guess we better pass this. It's really important to pass this. You got to take that off the table too. I think it was as Rose also said that she showed up for every test the best her she could, and that she knew there were tests out there that she would pass. But you never know what test that is. And you never really know what test that is until you finish transcribing it. And so for those of you who think you only should transcribe the tests you think you passed, you're really missing out on making some progress for a lot of reasons. Number one, the least of which is that you're transcribing, and so you're getting better at transcribing. You're reading through your own bad notes and you're getting better at it. The better you can read through your own crap, the better writer you will become out of necessity. But you'll become better at reading through that stuff too. What did my brain really mean to want to be able to try to write when it wrote that? And a practice that helps clear that stuff up in the background without you having to do anything else is take a 2 or a 3 minute take at the end of every practice day, and start your next day by putting in some earphones or turning on the volume and listening to the audio that you wrote those notes from, and just look at the notes. Just let your brain have an opportunity to see what it heard and to see what it wrote, and it will start fixing things without you having to do anything else about it. You're just constantly conscientiously just looking at the words as you're allowing your brain to hear what it wrote. It's kind of magic. Don't look for instant changes, but a change over time is definitely discernible. And there are a couple of reporters who got out of school very quickly, and that was one of the techniques that they used. I'm taking stuff from everybody. If it works, do it again. If it doesn't work, put it aside, try it again later. So hope that helps. Think in terms of progress, not perfection. You're going to go a whole lot farther, faster. I promise you.